Hey there everybody, this is Chelsea with Let's Talk. Today, let's break down relative clauses about subjects. So, relative clause. This gives us more information about a noun. It's basically a really long adjective. In fact, sometimes it's called an adjective clause. So, we use this to give us more information about a noun. So, if I'm looking at these four gentlemen here, and I want to tell you about this guy. It's pretty easy, right? What adjective can we use to describe this guy? Tall, yeah? So I could say, the tall boy. Whoop. There we go. The tall boy works at the toy store. Easy peasy, right? We've done that already. But if I want to tell you about this guy, what could I call him? I can't say the polka dot boy. He isn't polka dots. The shirt are polka dots. So this isn't going to work. Instead, we're going to use a relative clause. So let me show you how that works. All right, so think about a relative clause as a way to combine sentences. We can take multiple short sentences and combine them into one longer sentence. So it's really good for writing. It's a little fancier, a little more difficult. So if we have those two, the boy works at the toy store. And he is wearing a polka dot shirt. Okay, so I want to take these two sentences, combine them together. All right, so the first thing you'll want to do is figure out which noun are we going to be describing with this relative clause. I have a sentence here about the boy, so the boy is what I'll be describing. So, next thing we need to do, we are going to replace our subject here, the one that's the same. We're going to replace that with a relative pronoun. When we have a person, he, we have two options. We can use who or that. They're both totally fine. It really doesn't matter. You can choose whichever one you like, okay? So instead of he, let's go with who. Okay, so now I've replaced it with my relative pronoun. The next thing I need to do is place this, which is now my relative clause, after the noun it's describing. It's weird. For adjectives, it goes before the noun. Relative clauses always come right after the noun they describe. So I'm describing the boy. So I'm going to take this as my relative clause. The boy who is wearing a polka dot shirt. Okay, we're good. Now I need to go back and finish the original sentence. Works at the toy store. So now we have one much longer sentence using this relative clause. It's a little fancier, a little more sophisticated. So these relative clauses are telling us which boy. Not just any boy in the world, but specifically the boy who is wearing a polka dot shirt. Not the boy who's wearing a striped shirt. Not the boy who's sitting over there, but specifically this one. It's telling us which one. So let's try this again. I want to try on the pants. Which pants, you ask? Well, they have big pockets. Very practical. You can fit lots of stuff in there. Okay, so again, first I need to figure out what noun I'll be describing. Here I have the pants and they, all right? So if I'm going to be describing pants, I need to change this one to the relative pronoun. Now we're talking about a thing, pants, not a person. So when we're talking about a thing, again, we have two options, but they're not who and that. They are which and that. Again, you can use either one. It really doesn't matter. So I'll take my word here that matches. Let's go with that. Okay, so I've replaced it with a relative pronoun. Next, I need to place this relative clause after the noun it's describing. So let's write this again. I want to try on the pants. That is our relative pronoun. Have big pockets is the rest of our relative clause. And that was the end of the first sentence, so we're good. I want to try on the pants that have big pockets. Not any pants, not those pants, specifically the pants that have big pockets. All right, so that is people and things. We've got two more categories I want to talk about. Okay, next one is when we're dealing with a possessive word. A possessive word. So I could say, the manager went home. Her son goes to Harvard. Okay, so first we've got to find that word that's the same between the first and second sentences. So here I have the manager, and it matches up with her son. So it's not her, but a possessive adjective here of her son. So when we have a relative clause with a possessive, the only relative pronoun we can use is whose. Whose. This will show possession. So we replace this with whose. Then we put it right after the noun it's describing. The manager, whose son goes to Harvard, went home. All right, so make sure your relative clause comes right after the noun. A really common mistake I see is someone will say, the manager went home whose son goes to Harvard. That's not going to work. The relative clause needs to go immediately after the noun it's describing, okay? Okay, last category is where, when, and why. We can also use these as relative pronouns. So for a place, we'll use where, of course. So I could ask, do you remember? The bakery where we got that amazing bread? Okay, so with my relative clause, I'm describing the bakery. I'm specifying which bakery. The bakery where we got that amazing bread. For a time, we'll use when. Let's see, the day when you graduated college was the happiest of my life. So I'm specifying which day, the day when you graduated college was the happiest. And finally, if we want to give a reason, we'll use why. And this one's a little different. I'll show you how. I don't understand the reason why you left. All right, so here I'm specifying which reason, the reason why you left. Now, when we're doing reason with why, we can often just leave out the reason. I don't understand why you left. That would be a more common way to say this in English. I don't understand why you left. Okay, that's all for relative clauses. We will come back to these in the future, so make sure you get a lot of practice in, okay? In the comments, why don't you tell me something about the town where you live? This is Chelsea telling you it's not nerdy being wordy. Let's talk again soon.